Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters video. Alright, let's go ahead, let's talk about another entry here. This one based on one of your newer suggestions, and this one having to do with a cryptid that is tied once again to the famous, I guess, writer, Roman author known as Pliny the Elder. I have described two of his creatures in the past, one of them being the Bonnekin, and then also the other one being the Abaramon. Both of them very unique creatures of their own. The Bonnekin having that supposedly like deadly gas or deadly fart that's just totally lethal, or feces, and then the Abaramon, the creature that basically runs backwards but has a very unique body. This one matches its weirdness. It has to do with yet another creature chronicled by this Roman author that equally has just some unique, just bizarre characteristics tied to it. I'll include the links for the past two videos as well if you haven't had a chance to see them, because if you like those weird and quirky cryptids, then you'll definitely love those, and you'll definitely love this. It has to do with this cryptid. You're looking at it now. Very interesting. No, definitely stands out. It's known as the Catoblepas, and it's going to be a creature that, again, goes back a pretty long period. So let's go ahead. Let's talk about all the interesting and weird information tied to this unique creature. So what is this Catoblepas? Well, it's a creature that's been around for a long time in Ethiopia. Anytime you're talking about Pliny the Elder, this guy again was around for I think it was AD 23 according to his statistics. So you're looking at something that has been around for almost 2,000 plus years, probably even beforehand. And the way this creature is described, it's a mishmash of various portions of other creatures. In a way, it resembles the common buffalo, the Cape buffalo that you see throughout various parts of this world. That's the closest resemblance, though, that it has, because otherwise, here's everything else that stands out. Its body mainly resembles the Cape buffalo, but its head is supposed to be something that's the side, like in this case it's a boar, it's a boar's head, or in some other outlandish versions of it, it looks like it's something else entirely different, like almost like a really sinister, just completely morphed to the max version of a boar, like something you would expect like out of your nightmares. And on top of its back, it's supposed to have these scales on it. I mean, these scales either are there to protect the beast, or they're there essentially to have some kind of decoration. You know how a lot of animals have these unique features on their body just for mating purposes, to try to attract females, and then that way they stand out amongst the herd. That could be the case with this Catoblepas. Its head, though, again being this in some places the distinction of a boar, it's unique because it's so heavy it forces this creature to always be facing downward. Like in some versions of it, its neck is so long and its head so heavy that it has no ability other than to have its face and its head almost touching the ground at all points. It basically can't just rise its head above its shoulders. That's very interesting when you think about it, because it makes you wonder how this thing survives on its own, considering like it could have an attack from behind, or it could have an attack from the sides. It would basically have to turn its entire body around all at once in order for it to see whatever is attacking it. But such is the case with this Catoblepas. Whatever it was before, if it's still out there in existence, that was its burden, having this huge heavy head on this thing. And then also the only other thing that stands out is its own form of attack. Now I don't know if this is necessarily like its defense or its way of attacking, but here's how it goes. Anyone that came across this being, this cryptid, if they basically saw it or if they felt its breath, this thing could turn people into stone or outright kill them. So that's how deadly this thing was. If you saw it from a distance or close by, it was almost like the legendary Medusa. You would basically turn into stone, or you would just be outright killed. Now, the other portion is you would have to be close enough. I mean, you could stare at it and you'd be fine, but if you were close enough to be hit by its breath, then it would either turn you into stone or you would be outright killed. So it depends on the version that you're encountering as to this deadly characteristic. But in both cases, though, they definitely end up in very bad results. I think, though, it has to probably be more along the lines of just the after effect. And what I mean is this: imagine seeing something like this coming straight at you. You would stand still. I mean, you'd be so scared of what you see, of what you're seeing charging towards you. You could not move. Maybe that's why people were saying that this thing could turn people into stone, because they would think, oh my god, this person is just standing still, why can't they move? They're thinking then, oh, this thing must have turned them into some kind of stone, not physically, but something in terms of making the person just completely immobile. But that's just my idea, my basis. Who knows? It could have literally turned people into stone outright, like in terms of you see the person be a living person and then all of a sudden they're pure concrete. That could be yet another aspect regarding this creature. But yes, Pliny the Elder absolutely talked about this thing in his book Natural History, and he further described it as being a mid-sized creature, and the way that its gaze was again also very lethal. One other interesting author that talked about it was a guy named Claudius Alanius, if I'm not mistaken. He had a book called On the Nature of Animals, and he was able to describe just a little bit more things about it too. In this case, he stated the size of it was more on the lines of a domestic bull. It was a herbivore, so in this case it didn't necessarily eat anything that was meat related, and it had a big heavy mane surrounding its body, almost like a majestic lion would, in terms of the same comparisons. And then also sometimes it would have those shaggy eyebrows covering the front part of its face. Interesting other item that I found, get this: this creature appeared no less in Leonardo da Vinci's one of his books. It's called The Notebooks of Leonardo da Vinci. He was someone that was able to chronicle this creature. It definitely adds credence as to whether this thing was truly absolutely real. This is his version of it. He said it is found in Ethiopia near the source called Nigri Capo. It is not a very large animal, is sluggish in all of its parts, and its head is so large that it carries it with difficulty, in such wise that it always droops towards the ground. Otherwise it would be a great pest to man, for anyone on whom it fixes its eyes dies immediately. So I did not expect that to read anything involving Leonardo da Vinci talking about this creature as well. So, but that's it. That's pretty much all the information associated with this legendary creature. If it's truly out there still somewhere in the plainlands there in Ethiopia, then you're definitely going to not want to be around this creature considering its deadly attributes. But otherwise, if you're just admiring it from afar, then you should be fine. But if anyone has any more information, anything else I might have missed, that'd be really great to hear. Very long creature too, considering again it's almost, at least under written aspects, almost 2,000 years old. So there's bound to be more stories out there, more history that people have regarding this legendary creature. So alright everybody, thanks again as always. Take care.